Is Kelly still in the Philippines? Is she?
As far as I know, she's still serving her duties as an Air National Guard pilot.
I think she's headed to Guam after that.
Guam, yeah.
She's going to Guam?
I think so, right?
Boy, rough.
She's
That's a
rough.
assignment.
Yeah,
Rough getting a
deployment.
suntan on the beach and playing beach
Beach
volleyball out there.
Yeah, Kelly, we know.
Kelly, keep
We know
working
what you're
hard.
doing.
I'll fill in for you till you're back.
It's probably
Don't worry.
one or two days of training exercise and then
Enjoy.
1 month of sunbathing.
We miss you, and keep that C-130 up there where it belongs, That a girl.
All right.
And welcome to Veterans Nation. My name is Mike Dowling. I'm here along with Michelle Ladd, Trevor Scott, and Mr. Rick Seaman.
Ooh, all right, let's dedicate.
Yeah.
Let's dedicate. Today's
Trevor.
show is dedicated to the 9th Infantry Division, the Old Reliables. I believe they were one of the first combat elements in North Africa during World War II.
Oh, really?
And
Yeah.
they also saw heavy combat in the Mekong Delta in Vietnam.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, we were right just north of them, right at the edge of lower edge of 3 Corps. They held down 4 Corps.
You were there in World War II?
No, Vietnam.
The Mekong Delta.
Yeah. Do I pass for World War II? Maybe I do.
Not yet.
Okay. Well, anyway, what's
All right. Well, I think it's time for the tank.
the tank?
The tank.
We love the tank.
Yes. All right.
All right, here's some good news on veterans employment from the VFW. According to the Association of American Railroads, some 500 companies and organizations in the railroad industry sought to hire about 5,000 veterans in 2012. These companies include freight, intercity passenger, and commuter railroads, as well as rail supply companies. As a growing number of current railroad employees look toward retirement, the number of job openings will begin to rise in future years. Ray LaHood, former U.S. Department of Transportation Secretary, highlighted the overlap in personal traits and skill sets of railroad employees with military servicemen and women. He added that veterans have disciplined backgrounds with special capabilities and qualities that are uniquely suited to help keep freight railroads efficient and safe. To learn more about jobs in the railroad industry, check out the Railroad Association Military Skills Translator by going to the link you see displayed on our screen. Veterans also can visit the Veterans Transportation Career Center, sponsored by VA and the Department of Transportation, and the link to their website is also on our screen. So that's good stuff. Good news right there. Right?
Yeah, very good stuff.
5,000 jobs. That's a
Yeah.
good number.
Yeah,
Jobs
yeah.
for veterans is always a good thing.
Yeah. My grandfather worked for the Pennsylvania Railroad his entire life. And it reminds me of him and what technology the railroads had in those days, as opposed to the technology the railroads have today. So this is perfect for these young vets coming out with their technology skills. But it's funny. Here's a story. My grandfather retired after his railroad career of 50 years or whatever, and he bought this little mini farm down in Maryland. Moved down there with my grandmother, and he had never driven a car his entire life because he worked on the railroad, and I guess
Just trained.
he rode trains in the
Okay.
caboose or wherever,
Nice.
hanging off a boxcar or whatever, But
Well,
so he decided he wanted to learn to drive when he moved down to Maryland and retired, and he bought this 1950 Ford flathead V8, 3 on the tree, and my parents used to take me down there and dump me off for a week, and I'd hang out with him, and he'd take his tomato crops to the market to sell them and all this, and I'd get in the car with him, this 50 Ford, and he would start this thing by holding his foot to the floor and then cranking the key, rah, 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 and it would start and go, wah! And he'd keep it floored for 30 seconds. And as a 6-year-old, I'm like a 6-year-old kid, and I'm just sitting there thinking, there's something not right about it.
your stunt driving began then.
Well, but I'm just thinking,
That's where it all
there's-
started. That's where your stunt driving career
I
started.
don't know, but finally at the end of the week, my dad comes down to pick me up, and Grandpa's out there starting his car. Wham! My dad comes running out of the house. He's going, no, don't do that. And I thought, oh, see, there was something wrong there.
American made. He was testing that American made brand.
He probably thought he was starting an old steam locomotive, throttle up, But
Great. That's a great story.
He just held it there for 30 seconds.
oh my God, it was crazy. Anyway,
That sounds like a good
No,
outlet.
I talked to one of my first squad leaders recently. He lives up in Boston. He works the railroads now. And He says he works with a lot of vets there, and he really enjoys it.
sure,
Great.
great jobs.
A couple of my buddies work for the railroad in Texas.
Yeah, very cool.
Really enjoy it. Good pay.
Yeah.
Good pay.
Well, good stuff from the VFW. So how about we take a break?
We talk about athletes as warriors and heroes, but there are American men and women who exemplify those characteristics every day. They're our military, and they make the lives we lead possible.
Get up here, protect this vehicle. I'm Staff Sergeant David C. Ferris. That was me in that gun truck. That was the real thing. I served in Iraq and Afghanistan with a lot of pride. My story is about service to country, love for my beautiful daughters, tough times after coming home from Afghanistan with a serious illness, and how, when I hit absolute rock bottom, feeling like me and my girls were going to be on the streets, homeless, I reached out in sheer desperation to the VFW Foundation for help.
Staff Sergeant Ferris returned home from the hospital to a mountain of bills, an eviction notice, and no job. But the VFW Foundation was there with emergency funds to get him back on his feet. He is just one of the more than 1.5 million active duty soldiers and veterans helped this year, offering financial assistance for military families. The VFW Foundation is there to support those who deserve it most. But their services depend solely on donations, so your help is needed today.
The VFW did more for me than a favor. They helped me get my life back on track and keep me and my girls together. Thank you, VFW Foundation.
All right, we are back, and we are going to play you a very interesting and informative video. On our last segment, we had Shad Meshad here discussing post-traumatic stress disorder and over-medication and medication issues involving those patients. And with veterans filing claims for post-traumatic stress disorder. So this video may shine new light on technology and hope of that issue. So let's roll this video.
Here we go.
The scars of PTSD may be invisible, but all too real for the brave men and women who feel its impact every day. Now, though, doctors are researching a promising new treatment that could help take the trial and error out of treating PTSD. I spoke with some of those on the front lines of this research.
Everyone deals with their own way. I try to hide it. I try not to think about it because I got to stay 100%. You know, I got to keep a good example.
The war in Iraq is over, Afghanistan winding down. Yet the troops returning home still fight battles of their own, and too often on their own. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD.
I say I try not to think about it.
The problem so widespread and treatment so frequently mishandled that last year Defense Secretary Leon Panetta ordered all military services to conduct an extensive review of mental health diagnoses.
What we try to do is to do mental health assessments both before and after deployments so that we can identify and try to treat somebody who might have a problem, specifically with PTSD. We've done about 600,000 of these assessments.
One intractable problem. How do you treat wounds of war that fester inside the brain? Now, doctors at Walter Reed Military Medical Center are trying a new system that shows promise.
It was actually life-changing for me. If I can help just one person avoid the battles that I went through to get the right medication, it's worth it.
Brian Harvey is a civilian who spent 7 desperate years trying to find something to help cure what doctors had diagnosed as bipolar disorder.
I went through 3 different doctors and 4 different drug combinations. I kept on changing, trying to find something that would work because it wasn't working.
This is the system Brian found, the one he says has saved his marriage, maybe his life. So let's see how this brain scan process works. Try and clear up some of the mysteries. I'll be the guinea pig. Known as Central Nervous System Response, or CNS, it's simply a cap with electrodes worn during a 20-minute session to record brain waves. The individual's brainwave pattern is then compared with a database to find which specific mood-altering drugs would likely be most beneficial. Dr. William Richardson, an Army veteran and New Jersey psychiatrist, says the technology all but eliminates the trial-and-error drug testing he used to have to employ.
Oh, the potential is fabulous. The potential is to help all the soldiers that have psychiatric illness. I mean, we can run this test on them and then really be able to come up with at least an 80% accuracy rate of the medications that are likely to work.
Well, the man behind the company pushing this technology is with us now, George Carpenter, President and CEO of CNS Response. The cap I was wearing, standard electroencephalogram. It's been around for years. Exactly. But you found a way to take the information that comes out of it and help apply it. Can you explain that?
The company was created by doctors, and they thought that, you know, they've got 130 medications to choose from and no guidance on which will work for your particular brain.
So it's guesswork.
It is trial and error. That's the dominant therapy. And so instead of guessing, they said, let's see if we can collect data from the EEG that you took that correlates to medication outcomes of patients they already have. And it's now the largest brain database of its kind. And it improves 2 to 3 times the outcomes that doctors get with those therapies.
Yeah, Dr. Richardson says it's 80% correct in his experience at finding medications that will help deal with, you know, the problems that might be inside the head.
Exactly. Everyone reacts differently to medications, and we want to know your brain. Psychiatry is the only area of medicine that doesn't have a test. So now they finally have something that they can do to objectively, rather than subjectively, figure out what's going to work.
We mentioned Walter Reed is testing it out. You guys are training some of the doctors there. People who might suffer from, you know, depression, that kind of thing, ordinary civilians can take this as well.
Absolutely. There's been about 12,000 of them done, and it's been around since the year 2000. The real key for us is it takes about 17 years to get a new technology adopted by doctors, and we've got to do a better job. You know, suicide rates, school shootings, Junior Seau, we see the results of treatment failure in mental health, and we just got to get better at finding new technologies like this and bringing them to the doctor.
It costs about $400 to take the test. Does insurance cover it?
Most insurance does not cover it. The military will really be the first payer that's paying for this. United Healthcare has reviewed it and looks like they'll approve it.
So exciting stuff, especially for our troops.
Thanks, John.
Amazing, huh?
That is, wow.
Yeah.
That's really encouraging.
80%. I mean, that's so different than what Chad was talking about with us about, you know, these cocktails that they're just trying.
Well, yeah, it's amazing. You know, instead of just guess and check and overprescribing or, you know,
I see some of these wounded vets or vets that have PTSD or diagnosed with it. They have an entire bag full of prescription drugs.
Yeah.
And they all have side effects. All those drugs have side effects. Yeah.
And so hopefully this will eliminate all that guesswork and give them exactly what they need and narrow down on it.
I mean, it sounds very, very hopeful. I mean, I know they're also doing similar things with TBI, brain scans and stuff like that. But here's the thing. When the guy said, you know, it takes 17 years to get things into the doctor's office or however he put it. Come on. No, man. Move it along.
They need to fast track it.
Get it into the military. Fast track it to the military because, you know, there's your big big need there. You know, and let the military pay for it like they should.
Well, and the military has always been the forefront for new
you know,
medicine
17
new
years
procedures. You know?
That's bullshit.
Well, it sounds like Walter Reed is leading this push.
Yes, and good for them.
Good on them.
Yes, sir. All right.
Well, listen, that about wraps it up for today's show here on Veterans Nation. Don't forget to visit the Veterans Network poll on the main channel guide page. There's a really good poll up there right now about Air America that you guys should go check out. So please give us your feedback on that.
All right.
So for myself and the rest of the team, thanks for joining us.
Welcome home.
Welcome home.
Welcome home.